On today's menu, we're gonna make Belizean tamales. You're watching the Bear Pantry Show. When making tamales, you kind of have to do a lot of pre-preparation type things. So I did the chicken right here from the day before. That's some stewed chicken. We're gonna need peas and carrots. We're gonna put water in this. The El Pato tomato sauce for the heat. Diced up onions, cilantro, diced up tomatoes, some peppers. And there's other things you can put in there too, other spices that you like, but this is how I make the tamales. You need a couple of big bowls, some big pots. And look, we're gonna be brave and I'm gonna try to make at least one tamales in one of these pieces of leaf, okay? And we start with this. I don't know how close the camera can get in, but this says masa para tortilla. And what that means is masa to make tortilla. There's another masa that they sell at the masa store, and it's called masa preparada, but you don't want that one because it already has things inside the masa, spices and shortening and stuff like that that they put in it. We want to have control and put our own stuff in it. So let's get over to the stove and let's see how we start making the tamales. I have this 5-quart pot or a Dutch oven, and I put it to a little bit less than halfway with water. And what I'm going to do is add the diced onions and the cilantro into this mixture. And we're going to let that cook for about 15 minutes while we're getting some of the other stuff prepared. So let me get a couple, well, let me get the whole thing in. All the onions and all the cilantro. We just want the onions to get a little bit soft. We don't want it to cook and waste away, all right? So while that's cooking for the next 15 minutes, let's go on to the next phase of how we prepare the masa. This is about 2 pounds of masa. And the way I cut it is about 3/4 and then 1/4. So I'm not cutting it half and half. This part's gonna go for the inside of the tamale, which is the cull, and this is gonna go for the outside of the tamale, okay? Let's set it aside for right now. I'm gonna set it in this bowl, and what we're gonna do is add a little bit of warm water to the masa. And we're basically just gonna do this. Be careful when you squeeze it because the water's gonna squirt on you and mess up your good clothing. So this is all we're going to do to this, and we're going to do it to both pieces, but we're doing them in separate bowls because we want to separate which portion will go on the inside, which portion will go on the outside. So I'm going to continue doing this until we form it into a paste. I'm going to add more water as needed, okay? You see, we keep working it. I've added a little bit of water at a time. We want to make this into a paste that's not too thin, but not too thick that it can't go through a strainer, all right? This is the first piece still, and I still have to do the second piece. And in the meanwhile, my onions and my cilantro are getting soft, and the pot is coming to a boil right now. It's time to add the El Pato tomato sauce to our pot. So we pour this in a strainer, and of course it would be better if you have a bigger strainer than this, but this is all I own. All my strainers the kids use to scoop things out of the pool. But anyways, we want to work this in there into this pot, and we're going to work this whole amount of masa in this pot, and we're going to stir it when it gets in here so it doesn't get lumpy. And this is basically what we're doing, is thickening this. So we're thickening this to make the middle part of the tamales, okay? So let me get some more in here. So this is actually kind of messy if you don't have somebody to help you. The ideal thing would be to have somebody to hold the strainer while you pour the masa in through and stir it in. But usually I don't have any help when I'm at home cooking, so I want to be honest all the time and show you guys that you can do it alone. You might make a little bit of mess, like what's on the counter. But anyways, you want to go ahead and stir this in. See, it's getting thicker and thicker in the pot. And we want to make sure that it's not getting lumpy. So I have another batch to put in, and that should cover the whole thing. And then we'll show you what else we'll put in this pot to finish off the inside part of the tamales. So this is bubbling pretty fast. We want to turn it on medium or low heat depending on the kind of stove you have. This is my new stove, and this burner in the front here has a double burner, so I kind of have it on very low. And what we're going to add to this pot now is the peas and carrots, the tomatoes, and a little bit of salt and black pepper. So I'm putting some yellow peppers. You can put jalapeno, habanero, whichever kind of pepper you like, or you can omit the pepper if you're serving it to kids that can't stand the heat. But I notice nowadays kids can stand more heat than us adults, right? So, and see it's bubbling. You kind of want it really low. And let me get the peas and carrots and add it to the pot. If it gets too thick, you can always make it a little bit thinner by adding a little bit of water, but you kind of want to watch that. So let me get the water drained off of the peas and carrots. We're going to add this to this pot with a little bit of salt and pepper. So if you guys notice, I put it on the back burner that has the simmer because it was just getting out of control for me, and I'm putting a little bit of the powder ricotta. Of course, you can always change that out for paprika. Again, that's for coloring. And if you're using the ricotta that's like a piece of clay, you're going to want to get that into a paste and put it through a strainer before you put it in here, okay? I've already added the salt and black pepper. See how thick this is? And so this is the middle part of the tamales. See how simple that was? It didn't even take 5 or 7 minutes to get this done because we did all the preparation stuff before, the cutting and the dicing and the chopping. So don't let anybody tell you tamales is so hard to make, okay? Because it really isn't, as long as you can get some things prepared first. So we're going to set this aside, and we're going to do the outside part of the tamales with the masa that's left over. And then we're going to get into the assembling of the tamales. So this right here is the outside part. And all I did was the leftover masa. I did the same thing I did to the first part, where I just kind of put it into a paste and I put it through the strainer before I put it in this pot. Just know when we were doing it through the strainer, we were doing it because other ingredients was already in the pot. But this is just the outside. And all we want to do is keep this kind of thick. I'm going to add a little bit of water so it won't bubble up so much on me. We're going to add some salt to this. Not a whole lot because the inside already has salt that's to our taste. So you don't want too much on the outside. We're going to add an 1/8 cup of cooking oil. I wouldn't use coconut oil for this. I think it would change the taste. So just use cooking oil that you're used to using in your pantry. And basically the outside part is done. We just cooked the masa for a little bit. It's not even, maybe 1 to 5 minutes. We're going to stay here and just stir this for a little bit. You know what? Not even quite 5 minutes. I think we're going to do this in like 3 minutes just to make the oil mix in with the masa. And we're not going to put any coloring in this. No paprika, no ricotta, nothing like that, because we want this part to stay white, okay? And we want it to get a little bit thicker than this. Then we're going to bring it to the counter with the inside part, the caul, and the chicken, and the aluminum foil, and we're going to assemble the tamales. So this is how we assemble the tamales. You know, we just get a little bit of the outside part of the masa, and we keep it white because we want to see it like that when it's done cooking. Some people will not cook the outside part, and they'll squish it, like season the masa and squish it. But that's when you get those really thick tamales that kind of choke you. Have you ever tasted tamales from Belizean people or Guatemalans or anywhere from the Yucatan, and the tamales taste, you know, a little bit too, it's kind of choking you when you eat the masa. Well, that's what causes that. So we're going to put our chicken, and it's always good to do legs and thighs, but I hate legs and thighs. You know, I think it's kind of insulting. I put it in the wrong direction when you just put the legs and the quarters in there. So I put other pieces so we can have surprises like wings and backs and the good parts of the chicken that I like. We take the middle part, which is the caul, and we scoop a couple scoops right on top of that. And then what we do, just like we did with the dukunu, we do like that. Make sure it's even. We start folding. Don't get panicked if stuff starts coming out on the sides, because you can always wipe that up and move on. So we fold right down. We fold it in, and this is a big fat tamales. We put it in this big old pot that we're going to boil it in. And let me make another one so we can see that again. So here's another one. I'm not going to make this whole batch today because not everybody wanted to eat tamales out of my stewed chicken. But I really wanted to redo this show and get it up at the side as quickly as I can. So I'm going to tell you a rough estimate as to how many tamales this would have made. And also it's based on the chicken, too much chicken you have. So I'm going to put another piece of breast, and you can see the chicken looks so good and healthy. We stewed it this morning. I'm going to put a piece of wing. And if you don't know what's inside the tamales and you don't like surprises and you want to say dark meat or light meat, then you can put color-coded threading to tie around the tamales when you're making it. So again, we scoop a lavish amount of the caul. We pick it up here and we start folding. And like I told you before, I'm not good at folding it in that leaf, but we're going to try at least one that way, okay? So here's another one. So let's get brave. and try one with the leaf. So nobody else in the house feels like I can do this. I think you're supposed to steam the leaf first if it's kind of too stiff. But when I cut it just now, it didn't feel stiff. Let me put some caul. I don't know how we're supposed to tie the ends. If somebody knows how to do this, send me a comment. Tell me how to do it, but we are trying. I'm gonna put one little piece of wing because this is just our little test try thing. And I guess this is what we're gonna do. Fold it. Joe was the one that had the brilliant idea to do this leaf thing, okay? And then he's hiding. I guess this is what we'll do. I think I'm gonna like tie it with thread or something to make it stay together, and we'll put it in the pot. And then another way that people will do the leaf thing here is they'll get a piece of the leaf, but they'll still get a piece of the foil. So I don't really know what purpose that would serve, to just have it wrapped in the leaf maybe, because I believe if you do it in the leaf without the foil in between, it will change the taste of the tamales, because I don't see how the leaf would not be able to release some type of a fragrance. So I'm gonna get a little piece of chicken. I don't want to use the whole thing because we are just kind of testing things here. And I guess what we're going to do first is wrap the foil like we did with the other two. And then we're going to wrap this one with the leaf, I guess. I don't really know. I'm honest. I know this way, and this is the way I've always done it. And I'm going to make a few more like this, get this pot filled with water and get it on the stove, and we're going to boil this for an hour. See, it's 6:12. I'm going to shut it off at about 7 o'clock. I'm going to allow it to cool for a good hour to an hour and a half. You don't want to open these when they're still hot, because it's not going to set. It almost has to set kind of like Jello, right? Then we open them, and I'm going to show you how they look at the end, okay? So I've allowed the tamales to boil for about an hour. This one that you're seeing right here is the one that the tamales is in the leaf without the aluminum foil on the inside. This one is the one where I put the aluminum foil and then wrapped it in there, but it didn't hold up so good in the pot of boiling water. But this one held up pretty good, but I had to tie it with thread. And I'm anxious to find out how other people make it, if that's what they do. But here are my other three. The one with the aluminum foil, this is the stuff that I know how to do. And when I was taking it out with the thongs, this one kind of broke open on me. And I just figured it was a good time to show you how it's looking even when it's not cooled down yet. So I'm going to allow this to cool down for about an hour. Then I'm going to open it, put it on a plate so we can see our lovely tamales. And see, I put it to drain in a colander because you don't want to leave it sitting in the pot of hot water that it boiled in, because it'll never have time to set if you leave it sitting there, okay? So when I come back, we'll see our finished product. Look at our wonderful tamales. Here we have our finished product. This is one that I opened from the aluminum foil, the one that was busting open on me. Let me try to get, this is another one. Let's open it up and just kind of unfold it the way you did it, see? Now Jory was asking when I was doing it, why do you leave the outside part white and not color it? It's because you want it to look like this. It's white on the outside, and then all that beautiful color is in the inside, see? See? All the beautiful stuff. And of course you could put other healthy things in here too, like kale and spinach and all these wonderful things in this tamales, and it would still taste good. Now let's see how the other tamales came out, the one that we made that's inside the leaf. Let me get this one out of here so we don't confuse things. And let me see, I might have to get some scissors to undo this, but maybe not. This is just a thread that I put around it. Like I said, if anybody knows how this is done the proper way, I don't have a little old grandma to teach me how to do this. And when my Aunt Eileen used to make it, she just did the aluminum foil. So let's see if we can get to the source of, ooh, that is gorgeous, isn't it? I didn't know how this was gonna come out. Joe's just gonna die. This is so beautiful. Jory, can you zoom in on that? Look at that. Oh wow, I have a lot of that leaf left over. I might just try to make some like this again real soon. Wow, I am really thrilled with the way this one came out in the leaf. I've never done it before. Even in my pictures on the front of my book, I just kind of put it in the aluminum foil and then wrap it with the leaf. So it's pretty awesome to me. Did you notice how gelatinous her tamales looked? It's spicy, it's beautiful, it smells good, it tastes good. Oh my goodness. Sometimes people refer to this tamales as Yucatan tamales, but actually this is the type of tamales that's made in the Caribbean, like in Belize, in El Salvador, in Guatemala, just in all those Caribbean regions. This is the type of tamales that we make. I hope you try it. I hope you give me some feedback as to how it comes out. I don't want you to ever have fear about trying to make tamales, okay? Don't let anybody tell you, oh, it's so hard, it's so difficult. Of course, I wouldn't make it for a party without having people assist me, okay? I thank you for watching. I love you for subscribing. Thank you so much for picking up the book. And until I see you again, take care.